Escort Diaries. I have to. Today is like just a super fun day. I am hanging out in this super soft little bathrobe that I bought for my clients to wear after they get out of the shower. I just got it on Amazon, but it's so warm and so soft that often I snuggle up in it myself. And maybe I like it because it's a man's bathrobe. When I was married, sometimes I would wear my husband's shirts, or when he was at work, I would smell his shirts because I just loved his scent. Um, but I just wanted to say today I've been getting so many email requests, and a couple of them had said, "Thank you for responding so quickly and making this so easy." So I want to say on the Escort Diaries part, I am super responsive to inquiries and clients, and the reason I can do that is because it's a personal commitment of mine to respond to people, whether it's a friend who's texting me or a family member or um, a client. And the reason I can do that is because I have a lot of space in my life. I think you've heard me say before, I do not believe in women working full time. I believe in women working part time. We're more emotional. I need that space. I can be relaxed and be in my flow. But being in my flow does not mean that I ignore my responsibilities. My bills are paid on time. I honor my commitments. I get back to people. But I can do that because I'm not running around doing. Doing is the masculine energy, doing. And the feminine energy is being, turning off the mind, feeling, and being. We all have to do and we all have to be, but men are more in action and doing and in their minds. They love to read scientific articles and big books about biographies and wars and all of that. And women are more about feeling and being and nurturing. So I feel that, so I have a lot of space. So um, I check my phone frequently because I do want to get back to people. And I set my life up to be really easy. And I think my role model for that was my mother. My mother became a full-time teacher of transcendental meditation when I was in middle school. And she made only a few $100s a month teaching people to meditate. So the way that we lived was my dad paid alimony and child support, but hardly anything at all. He's a doctor, but he paid hardly anything at all. Back in the 70s, men didn't pay very much. And so was my grandfather that paid our mortgage. And my grandfather was a millionaire, multimillionaire. He paid everything for us, and my mom was able to be in her feminine flow, meditating hours a day, teaching meditation, which was her passion, cooking organic meals for us, um, just wearing her pretty dresses, being super sweet. And that was my role model growing up. So, and my dad, as that more alpha male, even his new wife is a very professional woman. She still waits on him hand and foot. So that's kind of what I saw growing up, that the woman waits on the man, and the woman is feminine. She cooks and she keeps track of the house and she keeps herself beautiful and she serves her husband. And anyway, that's just kind of the thing that I follow. Another thing I want to talk about is I was watching another video by dating coach Evan Katz, which was about vulnerability and how a lot of the women he coaches, they have master's degrees and PhDs, and they have, a house, and they travel, and they're like, I don't need a man. And that no man wants to date a woman who doesn't need a man. So this puts us in a quandary then of sorts. Like, if we're too needy, men don't like that. But if we don't need men, they don't like that either. So what I've come to with that is I have had to make a life, and every single person does, where we're self-sourced, but I'm still aware that there are so many aspects that I cannot experience. there are aspects of my life I cannot experience unless I'm in certain situations. Like, I cannot experience mothering if I don't have children. I cannot experience relationship if I don't have one. Um, I would really like to experience it, so I guess I'm going to say I need a man to experience relationship and to really surrender to my feminine energy and to be taken and to be led. And I'm really willing for that and desiring that. But in the absence of that, I'm not going to go around feeling sorry for myself anymore like I used to do. Um, and people sometimes say, well, why are you single? Honestly, I know this seems like a lame answer. Honestly, I think there's a lack of men who are physically attractive and fit, who are up to something, and who are alpha enough to lead me and provide and make me feel like this guy can handle me and this guy can lead me. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping men step it up and become more dominant, leave the Me Too movement at the office, lift heavy shit, um, pursue your excellence. And that's why I watch a lot of these manosphere videos, because I like to hear men talk because I don't have a man. Yeah. I think that there are certain people that are content to be alone unless one of the right people shows up. And I don't believe in the one. I think there are many people we could match up with. But yeah, it's a real dilemma. I think that people are just more selective now than they used to be, especially people who are not needy and who are self-sourced. We're not as desperate to just go out with anyone. Honestly, I haven't had any sincere suitors. I have a lot of fans. I have a lot of fans. I have men who pay me hundreds of dollars to be with me, $1,000 to be with me, $1,500 to be with me. But they don't ask to date me because I don't think they feel like I'm a match for them either, or maybe they want to be single. Yeah, so just a little bit of flow of consciousness stuff for you guys today. Um, I guess that's all I want to say. um, yeah, I would be really awesome to date and be in a relationship. You know, when I was married, I never thought that I would get divorced. I just so wanted uh, to have like this really powerful, conscious relationship. And I just think that the gods wanted us to move on. You know, it's interesting. We split up just a few months before our 25th wedding anniversary, and I went to the courthouse to file for divorce. I waited. I was like, I moved into this apartment on May 17th of 2013, and May 28th was our 25-year wedding anniversary. So I thought, I'll just wait a few days and go on my 25th wedding anniversary so I can say I was married 25 years. And that's what I did. I filed at the courthouse. We didn't have lawyers. And when we went back a few months later to sign the papers, you know, we gave each other a hug afterward. He's always been nice to me. After I moved out, he let me keep a key so I could come over and see the kids. He would always be, hey, Sharzad, and do you want to stay and have dinner? You know, he was always nice to me, you know. Yeah. It's not that I want him anymore, but he really loved me, you know, and I loved him as much as I was able and as much as he was able. And, you know, sometimes I think people love us to the extent that they can. They can't always give us everything we want. And maybe they can give more to some people than to others. I don't know. But I digress. Yeah. So, the whole time I was married, though, and he was providing for me, I kept thinking, who would I be without him? Because here's the problem when the man provides for you, ladies. Those of you who've never had a man provide for you may think it's a perfect thing, but it isn't. Because the more I depend on someone to provide for me, the more dependent I am. I'm dependent on this person, and it's not that I'm afraid he's going to leave, but who am I if he's not there? How much of my autonomy have I given up to be provided for? Who am I without this person? When I quit my job after my daughter was born, actually, I was laid off when she was 6 months old. I'd gone back to work part-time with my breast pump in tow. And I really struggled with staying home because who am I as a person if I'm just a stay-at-home mom? I really struggle with my identity. And I struggled with that when I was married. Who am I without him? Can I support myself? And I didn't think I could. I remember I never thought I would leave him, but about 2 weeks before I did, I asked one of my friends, because I was so unhappy. I was so unhappy with the sex. The sexual part of our relationship had become extremely devastating and painful. Very, very painful to me. And that's why I'm a coach now, because I didn't know how to deal with those feelings. The counselor didn't know how to help me deal with those feelings. She wanted to give me Valium or some kind of pills. 2 different counselors didn't know how to help me deal with these feelings. And I finally learned how to deal with the feelings. That's why I am so passionate about the coaching. I'm going to make some separate videos about how to deal with the feelings. You don't have to pay me if you don't want, but that's a thing. And that's where I finally just one day turned to my friend and said, do people ever leave a marriage after 25 years? And she said, yeah. And I said, if I did, where would I live? Because he wasn't wealthy. There was no way he could split his money in half. Like, the courts could give me money, but it wouldn't be enough for me to live on. She said, you won't live in the same kind of place. You'll live someplace cheaper, but you'll live. And that gave me something to think about. I know a woman who was married to a man. They had just built like a $2 million house. And then shortly after she left him, she said, I wanted my freedom more than I wanted the house. A lot of times people get attached to the house or to the lifestyle or the identity. I'm a wife. I was stuck on that identity. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I've been married this long. Aren't I great? And I didn't think I could provide for myself, but I decided that, you know what? I'm not going to ask this guy for money. Not that he had that much anyway, but I already knew he had resented supporting me, and I wanted to see what I could do, and I didn't want to be some helpless woman getting money from a guy I'm not fucking. That's super helpless territory. Such a turn off. Like, I'm going to go out into the free world and make my way in the world. And I had been a realtor for 5 years, and at the time that I left him, I had a job for a company consulting for school districts. This is all on my LinkedIn. You can look it up under my name, Sharzad Morgan. And it was a really good job with lots of great opportunities, and I was going to just see how far I could go in my career. The problem was my heart wasn't in the job, and even though I really loved the people and the opportunities they gave me, my heart was not in the job. It wasn't. But I can tell you my heart is in the job now. My heart is in being an escort, in making porn, in making videos, and having all this time in my day to do whatever I want and to be in my flow. And I make more money now than my husband ever did. I make more money than I did in that consulting job, even though I only work a few hours a day. And that, I think, is the perfect life for a woman, is to work part-time. Either work part-time and be supported by a man, and that way when the relationship ends, the woman can keep working because she's been working. Or to be a sex worker, you can make really good money and you only have to work part-time. I think for women, it's really important to nurture our hearts and be in some flow and nourish our home and our friendships and our children and our relationships. To get support, like for me, I get support from my trainers. I get support from, I have a business coach. She's also my friend. She gives me support. I have family. I have children. My children are all in their 20s. I have a good relationship with my children. I don't talk to my parents very much, but I talk to my sister. I talk to my brother. I have a really good life, and the only thing that's missing is a boyfriend. That's the only thing that's missing in my life is a boyfriend. But like Eckhart Tolle says, nobody can have everything at one time for very long. If I had to give up one thing to get a boyfriend, I wouldn't be willing to give up anything. I wouldn't be willing to give up my children, my health, which is like so awesome, my finances. I wouldn't be willing to give up any of it. A boyfriend would just have to be like the bonus. But yeah, I definitely have space in my life for a boyfriend. People say, why aren't you dating? Honestly, I just don't see any men I want to date. I want him to be attractive, fit, up to something that I admire, a leader of men, smart, and confident. I have not met anyone like that. I haven't met anyone like that. Authentic. I haven't met anyone like that. I have friends who are in relationships, and you might look at people and go, well, these people have relationships, these people have relationships. But I know the inside workings of some of those relationships. I would never get into relationships with those men. I wouldn't. Now I have other friends in amazing relationships with amazing men, but I just don't have that chemistry with those men. Those men are made for those women. There's a matching component. That's a mystery of the universe. And I'm not going to let anybody bother me with that, because I may not have a relationship, but I have fucking amazing health, amazing children, a wonderful freaking job where I only work part-time. I live in this beautiful apartment in San Diego. I have family who loves me. I have amazing friends. And I have my meditation practice, and I get to make videos like this in my bathrobe. I mean, fuck. How much better could it get? Anyway, I am, be sure to check out my Just for Fans page if you want to see me fucking, sucking, and see my slutty adventurous side. But here I'm just going to be showing you, you know, my public side. I feel like the sexy side is, that's for behind closed doors, you know. I'm pretty modest. I went to a polyamory retreat a few years back, like right after my divorce, and everyone was going swimming naked in the pool, and I love my body. I love my body. I get naked like that for a guy or for my fans, but I didn't want to swim naked in the pool because I didn't feel those men deserved to see me naked. Like, what had they done? Why am I going to take off my bikini and go naked in front of all these men? They don't deserve to see that. So I didn't. I kept my bikini on. So that's just me, you know, and that's why I don't take my bikini. If I were to go to Black's Beach, I wouldn't go naked. No one deserves to see that. Why am I going to give guys a free show? And the only reason I fucked all those guys from my book, The Fuck List, is because I was curious about sex and feeling things, not because I needed them to validate me or whatever. My ex-husband always wanted sex with me. I had no qualms about feeling desired or desiring myself. So, that's all I have to say. Just a little video in the middle of the day. I have to make black bean soup now because tomorrow I'm going to be babysitting my little grandson, and I'm going to take that with me so that when my daughter gets home from work, we all have dinner ready. I have this awesome little grandson in my life. It just, yeah, one of the things is that I always would have loved to date a man a little bit younger with children. I thought that would be great, but it's okay if his children are grown. I love children. I love family life, you know. I do. I just wish that when my children were little, my ex-husband and I were a team. We weren't a couple, if that makes sense. We didn't have a we. We had an us, and I always wanted there to be a we, and I thought it would be so nice to have a do-over where I was dating someone with children and there was a we and there was an us. I'm still open to that. That's still a possibility for me. But I think the best thing that really we can do as women, those of you who are single, we yearn to surrender to something bigger, to the beloved. And if we can't have a beloved that's a man, we can have a beloved that's our God or the universe, so that we can stay in this open, surrendered space and just surrender to life or surrender to the universe, surrender to the trees, surrender to the stars, just to have that expansive, open feeling. I think is really good. And at the same time, to have boundaries and standards as to who we let in and let people in gradually and slowly. I have a checklist. My business coach is always saying, every time you post something, Sharzad, make a call to action. Okay, so I was just thinking this. I do have a checklist on my coaching website, 3 different checklists. The keep them or leave them is not quite done yet, but you can download checklist, just toxic guys checklist, and I'm a ready to date checklist. I think a lot of people date because they're desperate or they're lonely or they're looking for someone to complete them. And that's where the dilemma comes in, because we have to be complete in ourselves as a whole being and not look for other people to complete us, but at the same time being open to being in relationship with other people. It's a very tricky balance. I'm not going to lie. Like, I have to be whole and complete, but I still have to need you. It's like a fuck. Who teaches us how to be human, you know? It's fucking hard sometimes to be human, to be like, yeah, I'm whole and complete and I don't need anyone, but I need a man, because if I don't let myself need a man, I'm just closed off. So it's like I'm whole and I'm open to more, kind of is where I've arrived at. Okay, thank you for watching my video.